Hi, friends. My name is Miss Curie, and I'm from the Warrenville Public Library District, and I am here with this month's STEAM Storytime to Go. And today we're going to talk all about engineering. So engineers are, professionally speaking, they are problem solvers. They look at a problem, they think how they can solve it and how they can make situations better. We have engineers that work with computers. We have engineers that work with robotics. We have engineers that work with our roadways and bridges. So today I want us to put on our engineering caps and think about all the different ways that we can problem solve. In your kits, you should have gotten a lovely little set of some counting bears. These are the bears that you want to try to rescue from falling into the lava. You have some cups, some postcards, index cards, and also some popsicle sticks. You also got a neat little coloring book that explains all the process of engineering. The engineering design process to hang up on your wall so that you can continue to think about problem solving. And a fancy dancy tangram set. So tangrams is a fun way of building with shapes. So you'll see some of your pages towards the back. These are the ones for you to color and cut out. And in the front, these are your templates of what you can build. So you can build a spaceship, a boat, and so many other cool things. That's another way to use the engineering brain to try to design, imagine, plan, and create all sorts of different things out of shapes. All right, so now let's get started with our story time portion. So we're going to start things out by singing our hello song, which is also known as our science song. Can we learn something new about our world? Can we learn something new about our world? Can we learn something new about our world? And can we make a guess, a hypothesis? Can we find out if it's true? Can we find out if it's true? Can we find out if it's true through an experiment? Yes, we can find out through an experiment. Woohoo! All right, so now that we got our science cap on, we got our thinking cap on, we got our engineering cap on, we are going to read our very first book. And I think you are all probably pretty familiar with this one. It's called Rosie Revere, Engineer. And how can we not read a book about engineering in an engineering story time? This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Leela Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer's stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. Wow. She's very creative. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser, and even some helium pants. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud, but Fred slapped his knee and chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "Oh, I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, truly I do." But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf, and after that day, she kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went until one autumn day, her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. "The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that one up to an old lady's dreams." That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The helio cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." She turned round to leave, but then great-great-aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "Oh, you did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. I failed," said Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said her great aunt, "it crashed, that is true. But first it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew." "Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rose tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. The end. Yay! Good job listening, my friends. I think that's such an important lesson about engineering, is that we remember that just because we fail doesn't mean we give up. That's just step one. Got to get to step two. All right, we're going to read our next book, and then I'm going to show you a little bit about how to build your creation or your floor is lava game. So this book is called We Love Engineering. And it's all about the different types of engineers in our world and what they do to help us out. I like this book, even though it's a board book, because it shows every different way that an engineer is involved in our daily lives. Calling all engineers. Let's get ready to play with tools, toys, and ideas. The world is full of things designed and built by engineers. Things that we use every day, like a train. Things to drive and ride, float, and fly. Even a hot air balloon had to be engineered. Things that help us, connect us, and keep us safe. Okay, engineers, where do we start? First, look around you. Is there a problem to be solved? Next, think of possible solutions and make a plan. Let's see, like this one. You're stuck in traffic. Yuck. But maybe instead of sitting in traffic, they can ride on a skateboard. Sometimes things don't work out the way you expected. See, this poor little kite got stuck in his wheel. And that's okay. Figure out what went wrong and how you might make it better. Then try again. Together, engineers work to make our lives easier and our communities stronger. So keep creating, experimenting, and dreaming. We love engineering. The end. Yeah. All right, my friends, you were super patient. And now that we have all these ideas and we remember that failing is okay, we are going to start our very first experiment for home. So I'm going to move my camera down. So what we want to do is we are going to build a tower. So you have your little instructions right here. So part of it is being timed. So you might need to ask a grown-up to help time you. So what you want to do is you want to take your cups and you want to build. I'm going to have to build them up a little bit so you can see them. You want to build a structure where you can save as many bears from your table or floor of lava. You can use some of the index cards. You can use some of the popsicle sticks. You can add them up, join them up together. And then as now you have to be timed the whole time you do this. Then you're going to put down your counting bears and you want to try to save as many of them from the lava floor as you can in the, let's see, I think you have 10 minutes, but you can always shorten it if you want more of a challenge. Excuse me. And then at the end of your timer, you're going to count how many bears that you saved from the lava. Now remember, if you got any bears on the ground, on the floor, on the table, those don't count. They have to be off of your table. So happy building, my friends, happy engineering, and look around your house and see if there's something that you can find to solve. Till next time, bye friends.